let's talk wires.
Let me get to it. I'll head
because I will tell you, there is nothing more confusing and more complicated than a wiring schematic of a car. It is the most bizarre, messed up, jacked up. That would drive me totally insane. That's why Richard Tomlin at Apex Auto Works has the Corvette trying to find the drain on the battery.
I'm telling you.
Well, I found this because I was researching how many parts in a car. I was just doing some noodling around the internet, and the majority of today's vehicle faults are electrical rather than mechanical, Conrad. You know that. Mm-hmm. And we don't need 1,000 words to explain it. But recently, this is what happened, and this is what I found, that Bentley has released a fascinating image of its Bentayga SUV that it reveals its incredibly complex wiring harness. Just like the nerve cells and fibers that transmit crucial pulses across the human body, the harness is responsible for interconnecting the Bentley's vast electrical network. There are actually 7 different networks at play in this photograph, operating at different speeds for varying uses, but all are integrated to share information as necessary. Virtually all modern cars feature such electrical networks through only the related, as in an Audi Q7, especially the advanced SQ7 variant. This is where it comes into play. Both the Bentayga and the SQ7 feature the world's first, get this, Conrad, 48-volt electrical system, which is secondary to the main system and is commonly a 12-volt on today's cars. So it's 48. Both the Bentayga and the SQ7 feature the world's first 48 electrical system, as we talked about. The 48 system is used for the electromechanical active roll control that gives the Bentayga and the SQ7 variable axle speed, their articulation depending on the weather, and the SUV traveling on or off the road. If you're wondering why it's so complex, there are barely any features that are dependent on it. Everything you have in that works off the electrical system. Beyond common driver assistance features such as electronic stability control and hill descent, the Bentayga employs multiple camera systems, adaptive cruise control, traffic sign recognition, bird's eye view, semi-automatic parking, and infrared night vision. So all of that is in a wiring system.
And all of those different networks, multiple modules talk on a network. Mm-hmm. So it's called in the car business, it's called multiplexing, mm-hmm. or CAN network, which is controlled is a common area network. So, and all of those different networks all talk at different speeds. Multiplexing, GM kind of started putting in cars back in the late 80s, early 90s. And the way it works is you've got 7 or 8 modules that are talking on one wire, and each module knows the sequence of when the next module is supposed to talk. So it starts with A, the next module talks B, the next module talks C. And if it gets out of sequence, that's when your check engine light starts coming on. It starts throwing codes. And one of the biggest code fears in technician world is a U code, which U code means it's a communication code error. So one of the modules either isn't speaking in their space on the multiplex, or it's speaking out of turn on the multiplex, and can be extremely difficult to diagnose if you don't understand how it works, and can be very expensive for inexperienced people to repair, because the first thing they do is they just start throwing modules at the car.
Yep.
Or cutting wires and reconnecting stuff.
Well, you can't cut wires anymore in a car.
Yeah, it'll really mess it up.
That's why.
It was fascinating to look, because it looked like a circulatory system. And that's what
that's exactly right.
Exactly.
And the 48 volt. Now, today's modern vehicles, be it a car, SUV, or truck, have over a mile of wire in their vehicles.
Oh,
in 1948, I think they said it was like 110 feet of wire in a vehicle back then. So anywhere from 3 modules to now infinity.
Well, they've
beyond.
been talking about going to a different voltage in the system
for
years.
because there's too much to operate with just a 12-volt system.
Right.
And it's no longer a single battery system. There's always, in the modern cars now, some of them have 2 batteries.
And many of the modules will start setting codes if the battery voltage goes low, because if the battery voltage goes low, things stop working. So then they get out of sequence on these multiplex.
In other words, it gets
circuits.
all jacked up.
It kind of
all
relates to
jacked
what
up.
you're experiencing with the Corvette, I
Correct.
guess. Yeah.
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 A seat switch.